It's round 20 of the MotoGP World Championship in 2025. Welcome to the Sepang International Circuit in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, for the Malaysia Grand Prix. Underway, green lights, and the afternoon is go. So what are we going to see in the first free practice session of MotoGP here at Malaysia? Hopefully the unexpected. This is going to be an interesting session and a good run around. Let's check in with our commentary team at TNT.
What's he called, the boxer?
Tyson Fury.
Tyson Fury.
Yes.
He actually looked like him as well. He's got the same sort of, let's say, stocky, thick-set build.
Strong build.
Yeah, strong man. So back to Pecco. Then, as the season's gone on, they've made some changes. The results still haven't quite been there for him, but he's been obviously on the podiums, top 3 in the world. And then the Misano test came, and he finally got a chance to. He definitely did ride the 24 bike. He obviously much preferred it. They then made some changes in Japan, whatever they were, and clearly it worked. And my feeling is, whatever they changed, they weren't able to do it for the rest of the year. Now, make of that whatever you want. This is my theory. I've not spoken to anybody. I've got zero inside information. But I've tried long and hard to work out what's happened. And I think whatever they did in Japan with that bike, they've not been able to do it. Or they're not allowed to, or whatever. So, and now Pecco's gone, well, this is ridiculous. Like, I've just shown you, if you give me the bike how I want it, this is what I can do. And now he's riding a bike that he doesn't want to ride, and it's just a mess. And
we saw in Australia how much that bike was shaking. It really was extraordinary. And he then tried to push it over the limit to get a result because he didn't want to end up 30 seconds off the pace like he had done previously, and he crashed.
Strange set of circumstances all around. The onboard footage that we've seen from Pecco, the wiggling, the wobble, it just didn't look like a double MotoGP world champion on board the steed that he was able to win on previously. The way he rode in Motegi and the way he's been riding the last couple, there's such a stark contrast. Something's changed. We don't know what exactly, but something has changed, and this weekend will tell a lot, because this is a good track for Ducati, a good track for Pecco, a track they've tested at a lot, and we don't know what spec bike Pecco's got under him, what Pecco's going to arrive here, because he looked fast at times on the Phillip Island weekend, but just not there on race days.
The one thing that we will know in this session is what sort of bike he's got underneath him. Davide Tardozzi this weekend has said he thinks they've found something that can give him more of a feel of the bike they had in Japan, and we know if that's the case, he's really good around this circuit.
Yeah, loves it. Always gone well, really strong. Even when I remember actually even as a rookie, Pecco at the pre-season test as a rookie was ridiculously fast straight away. So yeah, for him, he's actually said the timing to come here is really good, because it's a track I know really well. I know how a bike should feel. So, and they're going to certainly have one bike set up like he left the test here. It's what happens throughout the season. This is the first time you really get to test your new bikes. He finished second at the test. Like I said, he was really strong. But then over the year, you can actually go down. Basically, you can end up going down a bit of a cul-de-sac. You change your setting. Track by track by track by track. You can get a long way off from where you were. So I'm sure they'll have one bike like they've been, let's call it, the current race bike, and they'll have one bike like he finished the test here. And that'd be a really good back-to-back.
Be interesting to see what he can do. Be interesting to see what this man can do as well. Marco Bezzecchi, only 2 of the riders on the grid have won around here. That's Pecco and Enea Bastianini, of course, is fantastic on late race pace and looking after his tyres. And it could be interesting if the KTM is working this weekend, what he might be able to do, because we've not really seen that much from Enea lately. But Bez, a question mark, really. Could be a race win for Bez this weekend.
Yeah, there's 2 people springing to mind that jump out when I think of being at this track, and that's Alex Marquez and Bezzecchi.
Alex Marquez was so good in the test.
Yeah.
This track really suits him as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, always gone well here. Always love this track, and most riders do. I will add, but Alex Marquez has always been fast. So, and let's not forget he's on the 24 Ducati, which we know obviously is the preferred Ducati. So he's got the right bike. He loves this track. So I'm going to say he starts just as favourite by a fraction from Marco Bezzecchi, because Bezzecchi's good round here as well, but it just depends on will the Aprilia work really good here. I know it has been super strong at the last 2 tracks, so you'd have to believe it would do.
And maybe momentum coming in there as well with Bez and the strength of, because Alex Marquez has been a little bit off recently, hasn't he?
Yeah, missing a little bit. Not terrible by any means, but the level he's been at through the first 2/3 of the season, really, you got to say Alex has had a slight dip in form, but he's secured his second in the championship. Not mathematically for him, he's still got to fend off Marco Bezzecchi, who's on form, but he's got a comfortable buffer, and will be looking to get back on form. Here, Alex has always been strong around this racetrack as well. He enjoys it. He gets stuck in around here. I remember having some big scraps last season with Zarco in the race, so yeah, he'd be looking for a solid one here.
Yeah, and he can get that second place here this weekend if he gets the points. Paul Espargaro sitting at the top of the table. Let's just have a little chat about Paul, who's been absolutely superb and probably shouldn't be surprised with what he did when he came and raced a wild card in Hungary, because he was on it then. But to be on holiday in New York with your wife, having a lovely time, get the call, can you please come to Australia, forget all the jet lag and everything, which is massively part of it, but goes out and performs beautifully across the weekend. What a rider he is. Yeah,
unreal. What's obviously, we've known Paul for a lot of years, but normally when the rider makes the decision to, or there isn't a chance to, let's say, continue at this level in MotoGP, and you take a testing role, and essentially you are retired from full-time racing, you lose a little bit of speed. There's not many riders that are able to come back. Obviously, Danny Pedrosa's one who still can, but then Danny Pedrosa, he's an alien, isn't he? So, but apart from that, there's not many can. So to see Paul, who is definitely able to come back, I mean, I know they've only done 3 laps, but he's the fastest man so far. It's incredible.
I think one of the interesting things that Paul said, Michael, last time was the fact that you can do as much fitness training as you want to do, which is what he does to stay, you know, absolutely in great shape, but nothing beats or nothing can compare or give you the strength of riding a MotoGP bike, and you don't get to do that in the gym.
Yeah, you can't replicate it. There's no way to do that on any training bike, on any gym exercise. He can blast himself all week long. You jump on a MotoGP bike and it puts different forces through your body. So he was knackered by the end of the weekend. He said he was feeling it, he was struggling, but he fought, he grit his teeth as he does, and he looks so good on the bike.
I'm not sure what to make of that.
No, it's sort of scary.
Please no. Please no, don't do that. I mean, to infinity and beyond, we get that.
Just quickly, it's Marco Bezzecchi as Buzz Lightyear, which is what Susie's laughing at.
Back to you.
To Paul. Yeah, Paul, I thought it was Paul, but it's actually Pedro Acosta there.
And he's got damage. Acosta's got down.
Looks like he may have gone down the road in sector 1.
Turn 2.
He's lost the front at turn 2.
Yeah, I think throwing a few stones out of the belly pan. It looks that way.
Normally, if a rider's pushing it like that, he's probably just lost the front, because it is a corner, as we know, has caught a lot of riders out with the high side on corner entry. We saw Marc Marquez a few years ago, and obviously Jorge Martin in pre-season testing. Yeah, it's just a little washout.
That camera shot just shows you how downhill it is there as well at the apex and all the way through turn 3.
Bagnaya's on a good lap for an early indication on where's Pecco Bagnaia at. I'm seeing some red helmets, some red indicators, which lets us know that he's on a fastest lap halfway round. Bodes well.
That's what we want. We want to see those fights. This is one of those tracks, Michael, where you can see tremendous racing. Lots of places to overtake, lots of scrapping that we've seen over the years, and we could get a good race this weekend with a bit of a level of some of the big, names not here, particularly Mark, of course.
Yeah, think back to the scrap between Jorge Martin and this man Pecco Bagnaia here last year. They went toe-to-toe for a few laps. It is a track that I think it works well to the strengths of Pecco, how he brakes, how he likes to make the bike work, as he did in Motegi. And as Neil said, if you're Pecco Bagnaia and you're top in the leaderboard after struggling down at the bottom over the last few weeks, obviously he knows the entirety of the story of what's going on, but for us on the periphery, we're skirting for a little inkling, a little bit of evidence of what's changing, what is actually going on in there. But it's so strange.
But just to reiterate, you know, if your confidence is smashed and you're riding tight and you're riding stiff, you can't just go out and do that.
No.
Because you'd still hold those feelings and they're not there, which goes to show that if you give him the bike, he can do that.
Yeah, also with what we've seen, let's say in Australia after the race, he comes out of the garage and he's throwing his boots into the crowd. You don't do that if you know it's you.
Yeah.
If you know it's you, do you know what you are? You are hiding from everybody. You're in your little flight container box, you know, how it is there. There's no motorhomes. And you're hiding. You don't want to face people because you know it's you. You hate yourself. You're stressed with yourself.
And you think everybody's talking about you, get paranoid.
That's exactly what every rider thinks that.
Yeah,
it's like, no one is. Actually, they are with him. Sorry, but no, they are with him because it's a fascinating story. It's a confusing story.
It really confusing to the outside, to all of us. But if you missed what Neil was talking about, as we were doing Checkered Flag in Phillip Island last weekend, he came out of the garage and he had the doors opened. He walked out and he went to throw his boots to the crowd just to say hello to the crowd. And honestly, you do not see riders when they are down and out. You just don't. Trust me, I have 29 years experience. You can't find them to do an interview. Andrea Dovizioso, there, obviously great test rider for Yamaha. I'm just going to bring it up because it's worthy of a mention, I think. So obviously it's the 10th anniversary of 2015.
Susie,
I know, but...
why do you always have to talk about it?
But never talk about it. The reason why I'm talking about it is because a little mini documentary has been made, put out by Dorna this weekend. And there's a lot of clickbait around it. I'm going to say this, I've watched it just to remind myself to see what... Because it promised, you'll look at it differently and there's things that you don't know. So I watched it. I literally didn't learn anything that I didn't know, and there's some clickbait from Andrea Dovizioso which really made me laugh because they talk about him being the rider behind and you think, ooh, did he say
what's he going to say?
What's he going to say? And then when it gets to the documentary, he literally goes, oh, was it me? I was too far away. So it's like, I've watched this documentary for that part. But what it does do, actually, is it reminds you of first of all, how incredible this track is and what great racing you can get. Some of the overtakes were, you know, pretty spectacular. Obviously, the story, I think if you followed this sport for 10 years or more, you know the story. But what was really interesting and positive about it, that I took away from it, was how race direction has changed because of that incident and how they split it and the FIM steward panel and how many more people are now involved in and how they actually, you know, look at the penalties and the time they take and everything. And now it's gone up another level, obviously, with Simon being involved. I thought that part of it was fascinating. I'm looking at you both. I don't know if you've watched it.
Yeah, I watched it.
Yeah, okay. So what did you take away from it?
A few things. I'm going to say I'll throw everything I took through it. 'Cause it's like a little half-an-hour documentary on it. I learned absolutely nothing.
Oh,
and
cool.
like you said, it promised. I thought, this is going to be interesting. You're going to find out some of the answers to the questions. I wonder what Valentino's going to say. They're going to speak to him. Obviously, he's not involved in any part of it.
He's never going to.
Neither is Mark Marquez.
No.
So, you mean the two men that were involved in were actually doing it, they've got nothing fresh, new to add. So anyway, so that was number one. I learned nothing. Number two, it was everything from the press conference to the overtaking manoeuvres to the kick was more extreme than I remembered. Everything was more extreme. I couldn't believe it, how extreme it was. I couldn't believe how the press conference, like no one expected it, and then Valentino drops the bombshell. And it was like, why is he saying that?
Well, it does give you a little bit of context for that, in that it felt like, you know, there was at least one member of his team that kind of revved him up. And when you're in a heightened state, when you're in a world championship, I've never been there, you can probably tell me this, the little things can make you paranoid. But, you know, I think it's worth a watch. I really do think it's worth a watch from the point of just being reminded about it and taken back and just going back to see some brilliant racing and you know what happened basically. And it's not, you know, it's folklore of MotoGP, but it will always be talked about, obviously.
Yeah. Well, it's the biggest incident that there's ever been in racing, and
in
also
MotoGP, yeah.
in racing. In racing, it's the biggest incident, right? Never in 30 years, well, more, 40 years of being involved in racing, have I seen a rider lose his cool that much that he runs a rider to the edge of the track and kicks him off. Never. It's not happened. Ever. It's not happened in any other championship in BSB.
But you do see it in you're talking about bike sport, though, aren't you? Not Formula One, because obviously you do see stuff in there. Have seen stuff in Formula One.
I'm talking about our sport.
Yeah.
Our sport. I'm not talking about football. I'm not talking about Cantona doing a karate kick into the crowd, or in car racing in Formula One. There happens loads of times where you see a driver just go, no, I'm not having this. I'm going to drive through him and take us both off. But in motorcycle racing, I've never seen anything like it. Oh, sorry, actually, Lewis Capirossi to win the World Championship in 98 on the 250s in Argentina, the last round. He just did brake for the penultimate corner and rode through Tetsuya Harada, who was his teammate, knocked them both off, and that meant that he won the championship. And it's funny, from that moment on that's when the stewards, there were no penalties. So Capirossi was able to do that.
Completely changed, doesn't it?
Yeah, So
the reaction is good, from the authorities, which I just thought was interesting. Obviously that's not clickbait, that's not headline stuff, but it's fascinating for us to see how it's evolved. But it was just interesting just to see, the overtakes. And there was a moment where Valentino basically said to Mark, "Stop doing this, because let me drag us both up."
Yeah.
It carried on, and it's whatever you think. I mean, I think it takes two to tango, but there you go.
Yeah, 100% it took two to tango, all because of the press conference.
Yeah, yes, exactly. Which
was bizarre.
That was explosive. But at the time, it seemed like a joke. Exactly. Everybody thought that he was joking. They were all laughing and everything.
Because if you watch it, you have to watch it. It's interesting. Because the way Valentino delivers his criticism towards Mark, he's doing it smiling and laughing. He's going...
And Mark's laughing.
And basically, the question is, like, how do you think you're going to go on this weekend? And it's like, oh, well, I've now realised Lorenzo's got a new supporter.
Yeah, we need to talk to this man.
You need to talk to this man. And he's basically got his back to Marc Marquez. You can't even look at him. And so then the camera angle is that you can see Mark's reaction. Oh, yeah. And like Mark then pricks Mark's ears up. He looks confused, going, hang on a minute, why am I involved in this? And then he went, oh, yeah, he's helping him. Yeah, it's fascinating.
I think you remember things differently as well, so it's good to go back and see how it actually unfolded. Anyway, there you go. Let's move on from that, shall we? It's Fermin Aldeguer, ladies and gentlemen, who's currently at the top of the table, race-winning Fermin Aldeguer. So we could do with, maybe another winner this weekend, a different winner.
Imagine, obviously Pedro, everyone's saying Pedro's got a chance this weekend.
Yeah.
Imagine if Pedro won this weekend, what that would mean. So if Pedro won this weekend, it'd mean the last 3 Grand Prix we've had first-time winners, and they're all Spanish. Like, imagine that, how horrendous that sounds. Like, imagine it, in 3 consecutive weekends, you could potentially have that. Think about it as Great Britain. Do you know our last back-to-back MotoGP winners are?
Cal Crutchlow and Barry Sheene.
Yeah. And what gap between the two of them?
Just think about what I've just said. Cal Crutchlow and Barry Sheene. And they could have 3 just in a row.
Yeah. 3 new.
New
one of them 19, one of them 21, and one of them 24. What's gone wrong? Where's it all gone wrong? I mean, it's unreal, isn't it? Isn't it incredible, that? There you go, that's one.
You've made me feel quite miserable now.
Sorry, I'm good at that.
That's what you're best at.
Yeah. There's the V4.
Yeah,
right.
so what you look...
I was enjoying watching the ride-out device. Look at that sink down as he accelerates
so
out.
low, isn't it?
Yeah. And it's pumping, isn't it? It looks like, it's pumping quite a lot there.
Almost looked like it came down too fast and started at the pump.
It so did. I guess, was that coming out the last corner? I think.
Yeah.
So he's hard on the gas there, obviously. Times seem slow.
Yeah. Not into the 59s yet.
Like, bear in mind, we've seen, 56s round here?
Yeah, lap records. He's down in the, 56.3, but the best race lap is 58.9, so obviously these are more akin to race lap times we often see in the first free practice. Look at the
cloudy.
Whoa. It's coming.
It was forecast to be rainy this morning, and then when we arrived here, it seemed quite bright and sunny, but, it's Malaysia and it can change in a heartbeat, and it does look foreboding there. The weather looks like it could change at any moment. We've still got 25 minutes of this session to go, so just look out for those flags just in case. we with engines, Michael? Because normally this is that time of year, isn't it, where they sort of run out of allocation. Who's where?
Well, we're on the confirmation that we're going 22 rounds this year, so everyone's allowed the extra engine over the last couple of races. And surprisingly, that means if you've got concessions, then you get 10 engines over the season. If you don't, then it's a maximum of 8. And surprisingly, for me at least, Aprilia have only used 6 so far, so they still have 2 left in their allocation, and that's Ralph Fernandez and Marco Bezzecchi, who've raced all season and in contention at all those races, whereas Ducati, they've used all 8. So Pecco's running on his 8th engine. Mark not, obviously he's out injured at the moment, but Digi on the GP25 there on their 8th engine. Through the board, it's a little bit mixed in terms of who's lost engines, like Honda give away quite a few, but yeah, for me, I'm quite surprised to see Aprilia have done the season. So obviously they've got speed, they've got durability. We talked about them having maybe the best bike on the grid in Australia last time out, and I've got to say, when you look at those sort of stats, you think Aprilia have really found something. They've got efficiency in terms of the engine, the performance, durability, outright performance, acceleration, horsepower. You know, the comments from Massimo Rivola that he believes when Jorge Martin returns next season alongside this man, they've got 2 potential championship contenders. And I got to say, when I look at that, I think the reality is this could be the best bike on the grid right now, from maybe the smallest factory or manufacturer in this MotoGP paddock.
How do you feel about the concessions and the levelling up of the situation going into next season? Where do you think we are? Just take Mark out of the equation for a moment.
I would say it's worked for everyone apart from Ducati, but that's what they were designed to do. Yep. They were designed to pull Ducati back, to stop their reign, stop their dominance. Losing 2 bikes on the grid will have hurt a little bit with Pramac switching to Yamaha, but it has certainly bolstered Honda, it's bolstered Yamaha, Aprilia. When we spoke to Paolo Bonora in Hungary, when it was decided that they would stay inside they would stay without concession free, let's say, and they were happy to do that. They believed that they didn't need concessions anymore, and obviously the results are backing that up. But it's clearly working. KTM don't have concessions, but maybe need a little leg up. But I think the foresight of the brain power that has got into those concessions and how it's worked, I got to say, full credit. It really, really has. Normally it takes longer to deliver parity across the board, but it's worked so well this season and faster than I expected.
Yeah, so that's a great thing going into next season, because with it being one of those seasons that's last before massive changes, you can kind of get a repeat, can't you, of what's happened the year before. And as we're on the 20th race, we've got obviously 2 left after this weekend, but looking into next season, it does look like it could be a lot closer.
Massively, yeah, absolutely. I mean, so Aprilia have made a huge step. Honda have made the biggest, if you think. Like, miles off the back of last year, worst manufacturer. You couldn't have paid anyone to ride a Honda. It was like the poison chalice. It really was. When you look at it now, it's really, really strong. Yamaha, obviously, they've got the V4 coming out. That's still a big question mark. I've got to say, that's probably the only grey area. KTM keep saying all the right things, and you'd have to believe that eventually they are going to find whatever this missing piece is with traction and wearing tyres out and turning. They can't be far away. And I think what we've got to talk about, and you obviously said to Michael, with respect of, let's count Mark out of it. Mark is out for the rest of the year, obviously, like we know it's been announced. He's also missing the first test of the year, which is straight after Valencia. That puts him definitely on the back foot. We don't know how strong the shoulder's going to be. It's a lot of rehabilitation. So, it's good. Where I'm going with this is, next year, it makes it more wide open. Because Mark's... Oh, yeah. Alex Marquez.
Down at turn... that's turn 9-10.
There's a fold to the front, but obviously quite demonstrative there with his hand signals.
And his dad telling him from the garage to just cool it, just calm down. Julie was actually really funny in that documentary. I mean, you can understand, you know, he absolutely loses it in the garage.
Yeah, absolutely, like, literally completely loses it. Yeah. They're all trying to calm him down. So, yeah, it just basically means next year, let's just say if Mark hadn't been injured, that's probably the best way to say it. If Mark had not been injured and he'd won these last 4 rounds, which I think he would have, but that's another story, you'd be like, well, next year's just going to absolutely destroy him again, isn't it? But he's proper on the back foot. He's missing the testing that's developing the bike. He's missing all that.
Definitely not what Alex Marquez wanted there.
No, and you don't see it very often on that first entry to turn 7, and I've always thought the curve on the outside is like a berm. It is banked, and that's the first time I've seen anyone in MotoGP lose the front on the way in and bump over the top of it. But yeah, it just let go. Literally as he went through the double right-hander there.
Grip levels are down. Like I said, these lap times are slow.
A few little spots of rain on the screen too, it looked like.
Yeah, look at that cloud. That is going to let go, that cloud, isn't it?
Like I'm sure in qualifying last year, everyone was under 2 minutes. Everyone, the whole field. Now we've got no one under 2 minutes. And when you come here for pre-season testing, like I said, they're doing 56s.
Yeah. Just going back to that KTM story, Michael, how good will it be for them to have Pole racing? He's obviously in for Maverick at the moment. With the fact that he does the testing and he's now seeing it in a race situation, how much information does that give to them and how valuable is that?
Yeah, huge, and it's part of the reason why they brought Danny Pedrosa in previous seasons in mid-campaign to get those race miles under his belt. Even at the time, Danny would say he wasn't race sharp, but keeping Paul race sharp is very good. Obviously, they get to see the strengths of the bike for one lap pace. In terms of overtaking, that's a different dynamic. You get to work on every element of building the ultimate race bike. So I think it's good. It's obviously unfortunate for Maverick Vinales to be sat on the sidelines now and trying to rehab his shoulder. He's working hard because he had such a solid season earlier in the year. There was lots of positives from his side. But yeah, unfortunately for him, it is fortunate for KTM and their development and test team with Paul Espargaro.
With Mark being out, there's been lots of rumours now about who could replace him. We've obviously got Michele Pirro in at the moment, who does a very decent job. Some talk about Nicolo Bulega coming in. He hasn't raced a MotoGP bike. What benefits to Ducati would that be, or would it be a thank you and to him? And if he was bang last, how much of a confidence smash would that be?
Yeah, I guess I can see the benefits for both parties. So for Bulega, you could think, well, this is my opportunity to show everyone that I can ride a MotoGP bike. He's been outstanding in World Superbikes.
Different tyres, though.
Exactly, and without it, he's never ridden one, and without a test, then it would be tricky. So, but let's just say if he did, let's say from his side he did ride and he just clicked with it and he was good straight away. All of a sudden, his stock value goes up, doesn't it? So, and I guess if you're Ducati, then you'd want to. It's almost like a free tryout to see, is this one of our potential riders in the future?
What are your thoughts on it, Michael?
Well, they did it with Bautista a few years ago, but Alvaro had a few tests mid-season, had a previous history on Michelin, so it was an easier transition. He came here injured, but he had a horrendous weekend, I've got to say, and it didn't do him any good, really. But career-wise, they're more or less polar ends of the spectrum. Bulega's gone to World Superbike, won the World Supersport title, fought for the World Superbike title, sort of set his career and his career path and aligned with the factory in Ducati that he could be the next Italian hope. That if he never gets an opportunity, we won't know. And we were actually having a drink with Chaz Davies the other night, and Chaz was saying he works obviously closely with Bulega as rider coach in there, and he would have never said Nicolo would have become the animal he is now. He said he's so good. So Ducati will know that. This man will have seen the data. They'll see how Bulega rides. The fact that he was the next BR46 rider and it just somehow derailed in Moto2, but he's rebuilt his career, and it might be an opportunity to try him out. For obviously Bulega, there's a risk to do that, to come in and not perform, but also you miss every chance you don't take, and he's got, if they do offer it to him, you've got to go for it.
100%. I mean, obviously if they offer it to him, he's going to take it. It'd be interesting to see the level, wouldn't it, and where he's at in this field, I suppose.
Yeah, I think so. If I remember rightly, he's in his new contract with Ducati, he's got a testing deal where he does something like 5 tests on the factory MotoGP bike next year. So they are obviously looking, they are sort of hoping that, yeah, I guess probably hoping that he's going to be, like Michael said, he's the next fast Italian. I mean, he has been very, very impressive in World Superbikes. Yeah. He's only been beaten by the Enigma, that is one of the best motorcycle races I think I've seen. Watching Top Rack and his skill level, what he's been able to do on the bike that no one else can ride. So, yeah.
Oh, that was almost.
Miller's down. Last corner on the inside, stop
He
the
did
front.
everything to get under it. Not
He
quite.
just leant against the camber for a while, didn't it? It's that steep.
He's getting so frustrated, Jack, isn't he? You know, he said after Phillippi, he said, I can do it during the sessions and I can't do it in the race. I don't know what's up with me.
I felt for him when I saw that reaction.
But he had a good sprint down under. I thought it was a good, solid weekend. And then in the main race on Sunday, unfortunately for Jack, crashed out in front of his home fans. But yeah, he's working hard at it in the Pramac Yamaha garage, and it'll come good.
I saw him doing a piece about the bike. And
Yeah, I saw that.
Did you see?
It was fun.
Did it make you laugh? Because he said, you know, it's about anti-wheelie and stopping instead of stopping.
It made me laugh because he did.
He's speaking in his
What do you call it?
Well, I'm not sure.
Spanglish
Yeah.
or what? I can't remember. But
It's universal language.
He's talked with his funny accent, but he's doing it because the person who's filming it's Italian, so it's like he's talking to that person. But I thought exactly the same. Some of the things he said just made me smile.
Yeah, you can't help but love Jack. He's great.
It's
such
raining.
a brilliant.
It's raining on the
brings such
circuit.
value to this paddock.
I wish they were all like that.
Oh.
All the riders.
Oh, it's raining, just a little bit.
It's raining really hard.
That's,
Wow, this might be.
And that's what happens here, Michael.
Every day.
Yep.
I was watching the marshal wave the rain flag and thought, oh, it must be spotting a little bit heavier. And then you see those shots and you're like, wow, that came in a hurry. We've seen the dark clouds, they were looming. But yeah, this happens. We are going to get a rain interrupted, either a sprint or a main race on Sunday, because we've been here all week and every day around 3 o'clock, sometimes a little earlier, you've had a massive downpour. You get the monsoon type rain, which is quite common at this time of the season. And yeah, we could be treated to some flag to flag or full wet weather racing
Or
this
red flag.
coming Saturday or Sunday.
Scurrying around now in the garages, then sorting the bikes out for the wets. And this is going to be some valuable experience.
Yeah, they're going to need to get them straight back out on the wets. Yeah, absolutely. Gather the data. Some of the weekends where you know it's going to be dry all weekend, you think, well, there's no point, but that's not the case here. Except they've all been here this week, and like we have. Well, I know you didn't come. Did you come yet? When did you come? Yesterday.
I got here Wednesday night.
Yeah,
so
Wednesday
I
night.
stayed in Melbourne for a couple of days for some
Yes.
A lot of
peace
rain
and quiet
now.
away from you.
Yeah, so you've missed. Oh, charming. So you've missed all the rain.
Yeah, but both races this weekend are starting at 3 p.m. and that is when the rain has typically been falling. So, yeah, a later start on Sunday might work against MotoGP here with the forecast that we have on the horizon.
When you're sitting there in the garage and they show you your crash, how do you feel about it?
Well, usually then you usually like you go to your crew chief. Look, see, can you see? And it's like you're trying to point out to what you can feel. I didn't really crash much anyway.
Oh, never crashed, did you?
Neither does me. He's never crashed, I don't think.
Not recently. Not so much.
Well, apart from last race in
apart from last
Australia.
race in Australia, yeah.
As soon as you said it, you looked at me and went, oh, hang on.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
It's just because he has been having much better time of it. And obviously...
This is like it's going to be like a slow race of them coming back with slicks on. That's a long lap riding around here with slicks on.
That's unbelievable, the change that's happened in the last 2 minutes, isn't it, really?
Yeah.
Oh, Bagnaia, though, it's not a positive start, just to flick back to him.
Yeah, let's have a look at what we've got, though. We've got a couple of Ducatis at the top with John Mir in third. Then Paul Espargaro and Bez in fifth. Luca Marini. So the Hondas, you know, up there in third and sixth, looking pretty good. Where's Joan? Down in 14th. Yeah, the factory Hondas have definitely been making bigger steps, haven't they?
Yeah, if you looked at they had it, even pre-season, they were quite strong here. Both factory riders were in the top 10. And Luca Marini was saying he's really intrigued to see because he knows obviously how the bike's developed, how with the changes they've made, how it works as like they said, the perfect comparison of what they started the pre-season with. So it's sort of an important weekend for them.
And it's an important weekend for Pecco Bagnaia, and this is fantastic, Michael.
Yeah, good for him. Sitting in the pit box, seeing his name P2. These shots, obviously, we know he stays on the older generation aero body, which every bike configuration has had that for him this season. He's got the canister on the end of the swing arm, which is a little mass damper for vibration. But other than that, visually, we can't tell GP 24 to 25. There's nothing standout, but whatever he's got under him is working at this point in the weekend.
or you're glad to get in after that, aren't you?
Oh,
Yeah.
especially when you ride over that. There's a bit of paint in pit lane as well on the ground where you have to ride over with slick tyres on. It's not ideal. You're always a bit nervous.
It's moments like that where you want the old shortcut loop to still be open, but it is closed now. So as you exit turn 6 previously, there was a quick entrance into the back of the pits, but the boys had to do the full second half of the lap there with slick tyres to get back, and they will be drenched.
So the wet weather, if we have a wet sprint, let's say, on Saturday, does that change your feeling for who could be on the podium?
Yeah, do you know what it makes me feel like if it's wet, like proper wet? If we get
like this,
it just throws it wide open. Like it really does. Then it's hard to call. Really, really hard to call. You could. I mean, I'm looking down and you look at Miguel Oliveira, who's had an awful year, really. Has got 5 Grand Prix wins, MotoGP wins, and I can't remember, 3 of them are in the wet.
Just a word about Pecco Bagnaia. I was just thinking when he was in the garage there, what a steely character he is, actually. Because to go through the season that he's gone through, have you once seen him lose it?
No, and that's surprising, isn't it? When you think of, you sit in front of all the journalists asking the same question over and over, and he's never lost his temper.
Nope.
He's never lashed out. He's never, slagged off Ducati, really. He's sort of hinted that maybe he's not getting quite what he's asking for in terms of his parts and material that he's had in the past, but I got to say, the resolve of the man has been so impressive to witness, and it is his character. We know how lovely he is. He's one of the nicest guys in the paddock. Sometimes to his detriment, maybe that he's not that killer. But yeah, to be as pragmatic as he's been, to be as calm and go through the tough weekends, crashing out of last and things that shouldn't be happening to a rider of his calibre and level.
Because as a world champion, you have to have a certain level of ego to be able to get to that point. And yet, with him, not chimpy at all.
No, he's always been super professional all throughout his career, hasn't he? If you think about him I don't know if it helped, started back in Moto3 when he was on the underpowered, less competitive Mahindra. He had to do it the hard way, that way, and just is a really professional individual. Like, obviously, he'll have made a lot of money out of racing. If he hadn't, you could imagine Pecco quite easily running a team, owning a team.
Well, in the future, he could be a fantastic team manager, couldn't he?
Yeah. You can't imagine him wanting to be.
No.
But then I guess I wouldn't have thought Valentino would have wanted to.
Then,
he's more team owner, isn't he?
Yeah, but some riders don't want to leave, the paddock. They love the life. And Lucio Cecchinelli,
Yeah.
he loves it. He said, why am I going to sell my team? For what? I've got all the money I need. I've got a boat, I've got this and I've got the other. What would I do with my time? What I'd really want to do is I'd like to come to all the races and do what I do.
Yeah, be here. It's funny because we're at the end of the flyaways, everyone's a bit tired, and you're like, I'm over these flyaways. And then you think, we'll get home. And then within a week, I know obviously within a week we got to Portimao and then Valencia, but within a week I'm going to say within 2 weeks at the end of the season, I'm missing it.
I think it's such a privileged position to be able to do this and travel and be part of this story. It really is incredible. Really is fantastic. And what experience this man is getting, with when he signed up to be the test rider. And you have to say, it's maybe, career kind of slipped away. Actually, he's got such an important role with this V4, hasn't he?
Yeah, 100%. He wanted to continue racing, and the opportunity to join Yamaha's test team, it allows him these wildcards. It allows him to be part of the development of the V4. He started the season on the inline, changed to the V4, and now he's solely V4 focused, which obviously, from our side, we're thinking every Yamaha rider is going to be on the V4 machine from the outset. Next year, it looks like that is going to happen. But yeah, Augusto's certainly acquitted himself well and proved that he has a lot of value. It's not obviously 2.7 seconds off in this session, but that's not the reality of where he is. He's certainly much closer, can come in and immediately perform at a level that benefits Yamaha as a factory, gives them usable data to develop the package.
And this man, his teammate, starting to post on social now about his return, his recovery, Jorge Martin, and let's just hope next season he can stay together, stay fit, because what we all want to see is these riders on top form fighting together.
Yeah, it's just been so sad for him. What a sad defence.
And but this is such an interesting story when you look back to the start of the season. They were fighting. Aprilia and his management were fighting. He wanted to get out. He thought it was nonsense. He wanted to take a different contract. And now suddenly, this is a sweet bike that he's coming back to, isn't it?
Imagine. I tell you, you wouldn't have... no one in this paddock would have predicted Aprilia becoming such a force. They really are. They're a force of nature at the moment. The way the bike performs for Raul Fernandez and Marco Bezzecchi, you've got to say a fully fit Jorge Martin with time to recover and a proper pre-season next year. He's lucked into it because he could have been off to pastures new and broken that potential relationship. But now he's got on maybe the bike to be on for the 2026 season.
Oh, thank goodness that was all resolved. Because whilst the stories are good, you want good riders on good bikes so they can battle together. That's ultimately what you want to see.
Yeah, I've got to say also, though, I don't think it would have been a bad thing because it's not worked out with Aprilia. That doesn't mean it can't work out. But I actually feel like him being on a Honda would have been the right thing to do. I do.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, only because he'd had signed a 3-year contract. Honda are definitely making huge steps forward. I just feel like that would have probably... I think the bike would have maybe suited him a bit more as well.
And do you feel like Bez has turned into a #1 rider and can carry that team, which maybe you couldn't have predicted at the start of the season? Well, you couldn't have predicted that because he had so many troubles the year before. Look at the state of this weather.
Yeah, I mean, you saw actually them. It's that point where the problem is there's that much lying water that it becomes no point in riding around because they wouldn't let you race in these conditions. So
no, as Fabio went right towards turn 3, he had a little aquaplane.
Exactly.
Sketchy here.
Yeah, just enough to get your attention. I think Paul's going to go straight on here. Yeah, there's too much water.
Oh,
there you go.
yeah.
There you go. That's what it looks like. Yeah, they might even throw the red flag out just for their own rider's safety. Ooh. Tell you what, if he doesn't crash here, he's done well here. Yeah, well, they've gone to the gravel. Yeah, done really well. 2
minutes left of the session. I think they'll just let it tick out, to be honest. But yeah, it's borderline too much water here to ride. These Michelin tires do a great job of dissipating the standing water, but yeah, when it's as deep as it is on some parts of this racetrack, there's not a lot they can do.
Alex is going to go out and get a lap done.
They'll do practice starts as well, won't they, at the end of the session anyway, so they'll give them all a chance to see what it feels like starting in the wet. Yeah, I said to Gav this morning when we drove in, I said, obviously we know it was forecast is wet. I said, I've been looking forward to 3 complete wet races. Not drying tracks, not bike swaps, just 3 across on Sunday, if it does rain. I'm looking forward to Moto 3 in the wet, I'm looking forward to Moto 2. It's juicy, isn't it? It just mixes it up. And that's the reality of a 22-round championship. There we go. How bad that is. Yeah, a 22-round championship, it mixes it up if you've got a wet race, doesn't it?
Yeah, and also, we've got a world champion.
Wow, look at that.
Oh, my goodness.
That's proper stream running across the track at the entrance to turn 12.
That's his second moment on his out lap.
Yeah, that's true.
If he doesn't come down pit lane now, I'll be impressed. I'd be coming down pit lane, I'd be like, well, there's no point in me riding around there because we wouldn't race in these conditions.
Oh, he's gone on.
He's gone on.
Right.
Is it turn 1 into there?
Yeah.
He's having a chat. Just discussing how bad the conditions are.
It's back to that conversation I've said so many times. Riders need help in saving from themselves. If he crashes now, you'd be like, well, like I said, you would not race in these conditions. They'd throw the red flag.
What do you think the future is for Fabio?
I think he'll leave. That's what I think.
You feel as though it's
leave.
Ramping up the chats, the comments.
Yeah. But he's either ramping up for an even bigger paycheck, which would be crazy to take.
I don't think
it's too much of a gamble. I don't think that at all.
Not
he needs to win.
Money. He wants to win.
Yeah, there you go. Exact same
spot. Yeah.
Same spot, same moment, same result.
It's really Fabio and Pedro that you want those two to be back on the podium constantly, don't you? Fighting with Mark and Bez and Alex and Co. You want to see that.
What's this? This is where there's that little stream. Well, there you go.
So the hand signal here from Raul Fernandez is more or less saying, race direction, you shouldn't let us on the track here. It's like a...
I agree. We've already seen that. There's the race direction. I know obviously check flags out now, but even with 2 minutes ago, just put a red flag out.
Yeah, let them do the practice starts, but warn them of the standing water. Yeah, they're all going on round so as they can do the practice starts. Get a little feeling on the bits of the racetrack where there isn't standing water, but there's a lot here in this turn 1 braking zone as well.
Yeah, it's really hard to see what the point of that was, because you wouldn't even qualify in those conditions either, would you?
No, not at all. No, that's tricky conditions.
And it's interesting because if you look...
Black visor and a tear off.
He's brave.
Brave, isn't it? You can only sort of see the sort of moisture behind it. It'll be like, oh, it does feel dark.
What a season he's had, though.
I know.
He can clinch Rookie of the Year this weekend as well, and it would be really well deserved.
He's got a chance on Sunday. Wet or dry. Obviously, he's fastest top this session. I don't remember the last FP1 he's ever...
He's never.
No, I wouldn't.
That's been Frankie's thing, that they're a little too far behind on a Friday.
Yeah, because they always look at the Sunday setup. That's their priority, isn't it? But they've sometimes not qualified as well as they should have done because of that.
But this is his first proper track where obviously he's got pre-season, he's got a bit of a reference, been around here on a MotoGP bike, so the rookie status maybe not quite as evident here, and this is what we may see from Aldeguer all season next year. He's certainly had a stellar rookie campaign, and there's a lot more to come from this young Spaniard.
And hopefully this weekend, a lot more to come from this Italian, because if we take away what we do know from this session before it started raining, Pecco Bagnaia looked pretty lively out there.
Yeah, look really
in a
lively.
good way.
Yeah, well, look more like the normal Pecco.
Looked like Japan Pecco.
Yeah, second fastest, and we saw some more footage of him backing it into turn 1, and that looked, the way the bike was behaving looked just like Japan.
We've also got John Mir in third and Luca Marini in 6th, which looks like the factory Hondas are liking this track.
Yeah, it's going to be one of them weekends. I think the Honda's going to be right up there. I really do. There we go. We're going to have another moment.
Sketchy whenever you're trying to lean the bike over. Both wheels just twitch out from underneath you.
Yeah, Binder went straight on. It was all right for Fabio. He anticipated it because he'd obviously gone straight on the lap before, so he knew to stand the bike up to go through the river. This is right out device stuck down.
Looks like it.
He's not been able to brake to release it. Oh, that must feel weird. The joys.
Quite frustrating as a rider, I imagine, a session like this, that you lose your last part of the session, which is kind of what you're building up to for the whole session, isn't it, really?
Yeah, and there's big gaps as well if you look at the times. We've got 2 seconds covering the top 20, 2.1. We've got a winner from last weekend down in 19th, 1.5 seconds off the pace. So, yeah, it's a strange one. Like I said, with showers forecasted throughout the weekend.
Though I think on Sunday it's supposed to be okay.
A bit better, isn't it, on Sunday?
Yeah, but then it was supposed to be all right this morning, so I don't know what to believe. And we haven't got Wincy Willis with us, have we, for our weather forecasts?
Sylvain
Sylvain, Mr. Gintoli, could you send us your weather forecast for the weekend, please?
Yeah, Sunday looks good, actually. Now we've said that. That's changed.
He'll be back in Portugal, by the way. The Frenchman, the flying Frenchman.
Revved up and ready to go.
I'm sure he will be. And with us for the final race, of course, in Valencia as well. So just waiting
to practice the
to go out
starts.
and do some practice starts,
yeah. Which will be interesting. I'd be nervous doing a practice start in these conditions, but you need to, because obviously you might need to know what it feels like, and it'd be sketchy, wouldn't it? Coming out the last corner. Like, look how that ride-out device has zero movement from it compared to the V4. It just wasn't working, was it, with Fernandez? It looked like their system.
Yeah, certainly.
It looked completely different to that, didn't it?
Yeah, the shots we've seen of Augusto Fernandez, it could well have been the high move already started off the curb, but it seemed like the device came down a little fast, caused a squash from the rear tyre. The The rebound from the tyre wall flex then started a pump, which obviously negates your acceleration, whereas the Ducati just looks so good in that phase.
Can't reiterate just how fantastic it was for Trackhouse to get that victory. It means that all of the teams have actually had a victory this year, which is tremendous when you look at the satellite teams, that they've been able to get to the top spot and celebrate, and also in the fantastic livery this weekend.
Yeah,
the Gulf livery looks so good, doesn't it?
Yeah, you never thought that it was going to be Raul Fernandez this year. If you think how the season started with his teammate, the rookie Ayagura, turning up in Thailand, battling with Pecco Bagnaia, battling for fourth, past Pecco at one point in the sprint race. It was unbelievable. I think, I can't remember, did he finish fifth and sixth, or a pair of fifths did Ayagura? And at that point, Raul was down out of the points, and you're like, wow, like, he must be done. This will definitely be his last year, you felt like, but he's had a good season. He's managed to regroup.
Yeah, and he felt like that. We've got an interview that Nat's done with Raul this weekend, where he talks about the fact that, you know, Trackhouse saved him because he came up to MotoGP. He felt too early, but when you get the call, you have to go. But he wasn't ready for it, and he couldn't perform as he wanted to, and he lost his confidence, and he was maybe a little bit too confident coming in, thinking that he could, you know, whip it up, and he couldn't.
Certainly, when we spoke to Davide Brivio last week, he suggested similar because of his outstanding single season in Moto2. Then he came in with the expectation he would do the same in MotoGP, but sometimes things do happen too soon in a rider's career, and Raul maybe didn't have the mental capacity, the maturity to handle it all. But we knew that Aprilia's seen something in the data. They always spoke quite highly of him over the years, and then Trackhouse taking over the team from RNF, and it just seemed like Raul Fernandez could have been shown the door, but luckily for them, for Aprilia, they believed in him, invested in him again, and he's delivered for them in the end. So yeah, he's arguably one of the most talented riders in the MotoGP grid at the moment.
Thank goodness for men like Davide Brivio, who see things and nurture things and bring them to fruition, which is what happened last time out. Yeah.
Having the experience of a team manager like Davide Brivio, he has seen it all. I'm always nervous. I'm nervous watching these starts. I'm getting ready for one of them to be completely sideways.
Well, let's hope it's not this one.
No. He's got form. I reckon he's spun up off the line.
Nearly every time, isn't it?
In practice starts more than anyone else, definitely.
Right, come on, Pecco. There's first.
I'll spin him. Maybe Bez looks like it spun a bit. Pecco's bit and gripped, it wheelied. That shows, I mean, these wet tyres are super, super sticky. Not everyone's doing the practice starts.
Luca, looking good this weekend.
Really good. Still yet to crash, Susie.
Yeah.
We're at round 20 and he's not been off in any session or any race. And his teammates crashed, is it like 27 times?
Never crashes, Jeremy. I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, Zarco's got the record. He's crashed more than anyone in MotoGP. So, like, you look at him, you know, two of his fellow Honda riders, and it's not like you could say, well, obviously he's pushing hard enough. Luca Marini's not slow, is he? Having a great. But since he got injured in Suzuka, testing the 8-hour bike, where he did crash, of course. So he has had a crash.
But not in this paddock.
And since he's come back, he's not been slow at any point.
No, and they love him at Honda because his feedback is incredible, apparently.
Yeah, you only have to talk to him in the paddock to understand that. He's super articulate. I did my track guide here with him last year, and he's a thinking man.
I bet you learnt a lot from him, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. He's not got the charisma of his stepbrother.
No one has.
No, that's a fair point.
I mean...
But, yeah, it's a really good point. Yeah, he's dry.
But he's lovely. He's Luca.
Yeah, he's dry, isn't he?
Yeah, but he's really lovely person. And I hope that he can get on the podium soon. It would be great to see him up there.
Got a good chance this weekend. Definitely got a chance this weekend.
So while we watch the practice starts then, let's say tomorrow it's a wet sprint race. Give me your top 3. Michael, you can go first, Michael. If you
Sounds
like.
easy.
Yeah, easy. I won't hold you to it.
Still spinning for Paul Espargaro when he clicked about 3rd gear there. Who am I predicting?
I thought you were going to deflect then, Michael.
I don't mind a bit of a wing it. I'll go Johan Zarco. I'm thinking back to Le Mans.
Who's your top 3 was the question.
Okay, Zarco for the win. 2nd place will be a Ducati, but who? Alex Marquez is good around here in the wet. We'll go Alex. And 3rd, struggling with 3rd place man, Jack Miller. Bit of a
Decent 3 there.
I'm going to go Alex Marquez, Aldeguer, Zarco.
None of you've gone Oliveira.
Yeah, I'd thought about him, but I'm thinking that if it's dry in qualifying, he might qualify bad. It might be difficult.
Oh, you've actually overthought the question.
Shock. Have you met me?
Overthinker. I know you're a flapper. Ladies and gentlemen, you've never seen anybody in airport flap as much as Neil Hodgson. To the point where we call him Giancarlo Flapper.
I just like to get to the gate. Leave me alone.
3 hours before the flight goes. You can't wind him back, can you, Michael?
No.
You can't stop him. He literally will leave a beer and go to the gate.
Whoa! Whoa! I've walked away from a cappuccino. Come on. I have not left a beer.
Honestly, once you start the conversation about what time we have to be at the gate, what time it's boarding, he's gone.
Yeah.
He glazes over.
I'm feeling anxious now. I mean, you're making my palms sweat. I'm thinking about flying on Sunday night now. I don't know. I've never missed a flight either.
It's just so weird. But
I don't pay for the flights. It's not like it's even going to cost me anything.
I mean, you would think with you being in a reasonable group of people that have all got to get the same flight, that you'll be all right.
No, because what happens is we get distracted and we'll be sat chatting, and then I'll be like, hey, it's boarding in 55 minutes, and you're all like, well, plenty of time.
I mean, it's extraordinary that you've never missed a flight. I've seen you. After a few beers.
Well, that's the end then of the first practice session. There was rain in the end, and it's going to make this weekend just that little bit more unpredictable. We'll be back in 3 hours' time for all the action from the practice hour. Join us then here from a very wet Kuala Lumpur in Malaysia. Bye-bye.